What's happening, Boot Junkies? Mike Delgado here, back with another video about home studio setup for voiceover. And I had an earlier video that I put out that was called a $50 versus $1,000 mic comparison, an unfair comparison. $50 versus $1,000 mic, an unfair comparison. Anyway, the whole point of the video was not the difference between the microphones. It was the difference between a good sounding area and a bad sounding area. But everybody wanted to hear what the difference was between the two microphones. And so here we are. We've got the two microphones back in a fair comparison. And we have the Neumann TLM 103. I looked and it was like $900, $899 for this thing, like without a case or a shock mount or something, or $1,000 to have like with the case and a shock mount and all that stuff. And then if you want, you can spend $50 to get a piece of foam. What a rip. But I hate pop filters, so I put the little screen on there. But they're really expensive. The Neumanns are super expensive. The AKG Perception 100 is what you'd call... it's an eBay special, right? So it's not made anymore. It's, I think it was like $100 brand new, and it's, I don't know, like $50 on eBay. And last time I checked, you could get them all over the place. It was a very popular mic. It was a very common mic, used a lot for instruments. I'm not sure if it was ever really used for voiceover. But get this out of the way. But it was a very popular microphone, so it wouldn't surprise me if there are people who are using it for voiceover. Who knows? But I thought I'd give a sample of what they each sound like in a treated acoustic space. Now, it's important to always know that the microphone is really, really going to be affected by the area in which the recording is conducted. So by doing it here in the Whisper Room, we've got a standardized environment. Who knows? This is not necessarily the best environment. I would not sing in this booth. This is not a great booth for singing. One, it's acoustically dead, right? It doesn't have any echoes or reverberation. It doesn't have any of that great sounding stuff that you'd look for in a great singing booth. This is really just a booth for making voiceover recordings. So if you're here to learn about if these mics sound good for singing, I'm not your guy. I can't sing. So the comparison between these two mics is one, there's a huge difference in price. There's a difference in the internal mechanics of it. I think, I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't really know anything about the guts of the microphone. I know TLM stands for transformerless microphone, as opposed to some of their other ones like the U that have a transformer in them. What that means to you and me, I got nothing. That's not the part I care about. They are both large diaphragm. They are both cardioid patterns. Cardioid pattern, if you don't know it, a cardioid pattern means that there's a heart-shaped. There's a heart-shaped pattern around each one of these microphones that gives it a pattern of sensitivity on one side as opposed to the other. So the other side is less sensitive, not totally insensitive to sound. It's less sensitive to sound. And it radiates in roughly a heart-shaped pattern where this is like the point of the heart is a heart-shaped pattern that goes around. But it's really wide. It goes like out. It's not like the diagrams always show it. It's like a little thing like this big. It's a big pattern, right? Because I can stand back here and the microphones can still hear me, but I can get right up close and the microphones can still hear me. So the cardioid pattern is that, and there's a less sensitive side. If I were to turn these mics around, you'd still hear my voice because my voice is echoing it's reflecting off all these different surfaces. But it's not a big, it's not like it can totally cancel sound out. The thing to think about with microphones is there's a trade-off between cost and benefit. Have you ever heard of the law of diminishing returns? There's a The way I would describe the law of diminishing returns as there's a way to improve easily in the beginning. In the beginning, meaning like at a low price point or when you're first putting forth effort. But as you want to get better and better in something, it requires sort of like an exponential addition of effort or an exponential addition of cost. So think of the difference between if you wanted to become a fast sprinter and you wanted to become an Olympic sprinter. You could become fast just by practicing, and you could practice maybe an hour every day, and you practice your 100-meter dash, and you'd get pretty fast, right? If you have some athletic ability, you get pretty fast. But in order to compete to get to the Olympics, in order to shave that last 3/4 of a second, you'd have to dedicate your life to it. You have to give up everything else so that you can shave 3/4 of a second off your sprint time. That's the law of diminishing returns. And so it goes with microphones. Any microphone is going to start okay, right? If you need to get your voice onto tape, damn the quality, then you can get away with a $15 mic. You could get away with a $5 mic that you make yourself out of spare parts. Totally can do it. And yeah, your voice will end up on the recording, on tape or whatever we'd call it now. But as you spend more money, you start to make really significant improvements very quickly. Like your $50 mic and your $100 mic, they start to sound much better. Your $100 to $300 mic starts to sound really a lot better. Then you get to like the $800, $900 mics. And yeah, they sound better, a little bit better, but not so much so that if you were to do an A/B test, you go, oh my God, that's terrible, and oh my God, that's amazing. It's like, yeah, that's good. Oh, that one's better. And then you go to like the $5,000 and $10,000 mics. And is a $10,000 mic going to sound so much better than this one? Law of diminishing returns. A tenfold improvement over the sound of this one between $1,000 and $10,000? I don't know. I'd be skeptical. And that's the law of diminishing returns. So you have to think about where you draw the line. Anytime you get obsessed about something, that's where you end up having to draw the line of, I'm just not going to spend more money than this. Yeah, I could make a $50,000 whisper room and I'd be in debt for the rest of my life. There's a point at which this is good enough. Good enough for me, good enough for the client. There's a point at which this microphone, the amount I spend on microphones, is enough. And so that's sort of where you end up having to decide. So that's a long way to go to say, this mic or this mic? Which one's better? You decide. Hopefully that is a more fair comparison. As we've switched back and forth and you've heard which was which, you've got a fair comparison in how they sound. And hopefully it's helped make you make a decision on whether or not you want to spend $50 or $1,000 on a microphone. So I hope this helps. Now you've got your fair comparison. Now go choose a microphone and record something amazing.